Good morning to everyone here today. And since our meetings are now live streamed, I can also send greetings to our colleagues who aren't with us here today. They're probably in some warmer weather, enjoying a really nice time. But Happy New Year to all of you, and may you have a wonderful year that's meaningful to you. Well, the holidays are over, and I hope you all enjoyed them in a special way with your family and friends. And I felt a sense of accomplishment this year because one of the tough things is buying presents for kids. Now, I know we're supposed to tell them that's just not about Christmas, not just getting the gifts, but that's a little difficult. But I have a great system. I go by the list. But now, my lists don't come written anymore. I receive emails. Just not only the email, but I get a colored attachment, and I get the catalog number. So I don't know how you can go wrong. That's just a great idea. So I had a friend. I got all the gifts. I was great. He opened up the gift, and the fire ant hex bug. If some of you are not familiar with those robot toys, it was green instead of magenta. And magenta's the color he wanted. But he said any color was okay. But in the end note of the email, he said any color okay, but I really like magenta. Well, it didn't. It was green. But anyway, it did go across the floor. I was very happy. Put the little batteries in the remote control, and so everything worked out really well. But I love the list. On a serious note, we received our annual Christmas letter from a cousin of ours in our family. And you know the ones that give the full report of everything that's happened. Actually, I like those notes. I don't like getting a card that just says, Merry Christmas, love, Jane and Sue, and nothing else on the card. So the letters are kind of nice. And I particularly liked my cousin's thoughts for 2016 wishes. And I'm going to quote her, "May we have faith that the new year will bring a measure of peace to the Middle East, and to those looking for new hope and stars, and to the innocents from Paris to the US, whose lives have been forever changed." And she added, "Despite the unease, we continue to travel, enjoying and exploring this wide, wonderful world." Barb Stedgick, in her New Year's resolutions in our January bulletin, talked about making resolutions and lists, and I don't do that either. I used to do it, but I didn't do anything, and then probably because I made too long of a list. But rather, I sort of like to look back and reflect on the experiences of the previous year, and then how I can sustain them, how I can add to them, or I can learn from them in the coming year. I did, however, read a resolution that I would like to work on in 2016. And it's a bit of a tough assignment, but it's worth the diligence. And this comes from the Sentinel. You know how they do the interview? They ask people on the street, what are your resolutions for the year? And it's the usual, I want to lose weight, I want to exercise more, I want to eat better. And this one came from a gentleman from Altoona, Iowa. And he was obviously visiting here in Holland. And he said, "I don't make New Year's resolutions. I think we should be doing whatever we say we're going to do every day of the year." So I have a little reflections on some things that I'm looking back on in HASP, and I'd just like to make a few comments. I think we had a great academic year sustained by our curriculum committee, looking at the previous and the current chairs. One of the great things about our committees is I think we always have a really nice handoff and do well with the new program chair and the new chair of membership, but also looking back on those previous members who have done a really good job. I want to say thank you to the curriculum committee, the monthly program committee. I'm still recalling Lincoln Was Song. I thought that was a great program, and it was really great to be able to think out of the box and, write up a little grant, which of course Kim helped us with. So that was really a very nice program. Our service committee still has many opportunities to allow us to serve and work with the students at Hope College. And the chairman of that committee is just very committed to continue to get those opportunities for us. And our special events committees, I think we enjoy the bus trip as much as we enjoy the event. And thanks to our members of that committee for being our chaperones and our guides. And our communications committee, producing a great HASP review last year. Persistently, diligently, and relentlessly asking us to write it down. So I want to thank everyone who contributes and serves on a committee. And as they say on PBS, when they're making those announcements about endowments and foundations and thanking people, we want to thank you, our viewers, people like you who make the difference. And the people who make the difference, our viewers, are our HASP members. Everyone works together in this organization. So in reflecting back, I think we've done a really wonderful job, and we're going to continue to do a really good job. And I want to say thanks to Kim and Amy, as usual, for holding down the fort. And a little special thanks to our treasurer. She keeps us financially solid, so thanks to her, we're in pretty good shape. With the new year in mind, it looks like we're going to have another opportunity to go to classes with some of our colleagues and listen to some good presenters. I think we have a very strong academic year coming up. As mentioned in the December bulletin, we have an opportunity to explore, expose, and enjoy ourselves by choosing a variety of courses. So again, thank you to everyone. And right in line, we're going to continue to travel, volunteer, have mentoring opportunities, hearing great informative and entertaining speakers, meeting new people, we have a lot of new members, perhaps presenting a HASP class, and of course, publishing. So today, we have a great program on sustainability, and we're going to be making a contribution to Hope College by asking you to please fill out this survey that's at your table. If you just maybe started it already at the meeting, and then you can continue to do it after the meeting. But Hope College really appreciates your participation, and I know that we want to help them. I have one or two announcements from Kim. You know, we had that great constant contact. So she said to remind you, she sent a contact out yesterday, an email, that there are 5 courses that are closed. So please read the email and continue to look at it if any more courses are closed. So we're having a great sign up. So continue to check your email for that. She wants you to watch for any notices about the weather. We're coming, of course, into the winter season, and if a class has to be closed, it'll be announced through constant contact. And also she said to remind you that there's some volunteer opportunities coming up at Hope College. So look for your email for that. And I'll have Betty come up right now. We have a number of members, new members and guests, and she'll introduce them. Have a great new year. We're going to have a really good HASP year. And thank you all for being here.
Good morning. We have 10 guests this morning, and I am going to start out with the 2 guests that our speaker has brought with her. We have David Van Wylen, who is the new Dean of Natural Sciences here at Hope College. David, where did you end up? Way back there. Can you stand? Do you mind? Thank you. And then also Ryan Cotton, who is the city manager of Holland. Oh, you're back there too, anchoring the back row. Thank you. Other guests this morning, and if you just stand when I call your name, and I hope I do justice to your name. Pardon me in advance if I don't. Donna Vanderplow. Where are you, Donna? Oh, well, stay up. Okay, thank you. Karen Weingarten. Hi, Karen. Chris Grant. Great. Mike Grant. You can just stay up, okay, because we have to give you a round of applause. How else can we welcome you? Don Wheat. Did I miss Don? Oh, there. Okay, Don. Hey, you guys have some problem with standing this morning. Well, that's Kathy and Paul Schoolmeister. Great. And Bertha Megan. Oh, hi, Bertha. Great to have you. Okay, now let's give them a round of applause, okay? Wasn't that worth standing for? Okay, new members this morning, and before I forget, new members, we need to have you all come out to the hallway by the welcome table afterwards to have your wonderful picture taken, okay, now that the camera has arrived. So, our new members this month, Neil Browning, whose mentor is Bob Snyder. Neil, would you come up here, please? Thanks. Betty Clark, whose mentor is Kathy Heemstra. Marty Disler, whose mentor is Janet Hardenberg. Russell Dykstra, whose mentor is Gordon Stedging. Brad Clow, whose mentor is Gary Skolton. Nelda McCrocklin, whose mentors are Dean and Mary DeRitter. Marilyn Swanson, whose mentor is Richard Swanson. And finally, Robin Williams-Voigt, whose mentor is Mary Robinson. Let's give our new members a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty, and welcome everyone to HASP. We're just happy to have you here. At this time, I'm going to have Peter Deedy, our program chair, introduce our speaker for today. Peter, this is her chair. She needs to sit down.
Okay. Let's see if we can. I'll get this back down for you, Michelle. So, morning. We are honored to have Michelle Gibbs as our speaker today. She's in a unique position, to holding kind of wearing three hats, as one might say, working for the City of Holland, Hope College, and the Holland Board of Public Works as the new director of the Sustainability Institute, which we will learn a lot more about. But she has been involved with sustainability issues for much of her life, starting with college, involved with environmental issues and studies. She most recently was in Wisconsin at Lakeshore Technical College, where she headed up the Next Generation Energy Coordination Program, and she helped the college create a culture of sustainability by leading student and staff teams, as well as working with community members to help promote sustainability. And I was pleased to read in this weekend Sentinel about the local craft brewery business here in western Michigan, and how many of the farms are now growing hops and going green. So for all of us beer lovers, we should know that we are now part of the sustainability program in West Michigan, and we can probably get credit on at least one of the survey questions. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Michelle Gibbs.
Thank you very much for having me here this morning. And yes, I agree that participating in the green beer movement is definitely a way to participate in sustainability. Unfortunately, I am not able to partake at the moment in terms of my drinking habits, but my husband is still making sure that he's covering it for the both of us. Oh, goodness. Let's see how this works. I think it doesn't like my computer. Maybe I'll see if I can hold it, if that will make a difference. Does that help a little bit? Okay. All right. So I wanted to thank you for taking the time to help us participate in the survey. I'll explain a little bit more as I go through my presentation how that is playing into my role here at Hope College. Oops. I think it's this little button on the side. Maybe if I stand over here, will that help? Okay. All right. So, is that a little bit better now? All right. Gotta love technology. And so I'm going to pull this over here so I don't go near my computer again and have the screeching start. But so I wanted to thank you all for being here again and wish you all a very Merry Christmas and blessings on this new 2016 year. And as I mentioned before, you can see that we have a very nice blessing coming to our family in 2016 that we're anticipating in April. So very appropriate for someone in the sustainability field and around Earth Day, which is actually around my due date, so April 18th. So we'll see if we'll have a little Earth baby. And so I just wanted to give you a little bit of my background and how I came into this journey of sustainability. I was raised a Christian, and so that is kind of the cornerstone of how I got into sustainability. I've always felt that God places you in a position and puts skills into your hands, and then we should use those and go forth and share those skills with the world. And so some of my immediate passions, even as a young child, in terms of organizing neighborhood cleanups and volunteering at the nature center, and just a passion for the outdoors, really came from the term sustainability even before I knew what this term meant. And so with that, I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction for those of you that might not know what sustainability actually is, because there are quite a few different definitions out there. One of the most common definitions for sustainability comes from the Brundtland Commission in a report that they instituted back in 1987. And so this is the development which meets the needs of current generations without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And so this is one of the most successful approaches and one of the most widely used definitions for sustainability, because it encompasses such a wide range, and especially because it focuses on this intergenerational needs being met. And so looking forward to not just meeting our own current needs and the people around us, but looking forward into the future as well. Sustainability is also thought about in terms of the triple bottom line. Many of you may have heard of this phrase before, where it talks about people, planet, and profit. And so this is really important, and businesses have really taken this forward and put this into their mottos, because they're trying to get beyond just the economics of sustainable, or the economics of a business, but understanding how their impacts affect the environment as well as the people and the communities, not just in their immediate area, but also around the world, and how their decisions impact those people. Another way to look at sustainability is this 7th generation, and you may have seen this during my blurb at the very beginning, where it talked about sustainability, and the 7th generation. And so this comes from the Great Law of the Iroquois, and so they are really promoting looking forward beyond the current generation and even our children and their children's children. It's looking 140 years into the future and how our impacts are going to be changing what kind of world that they're going to be having. And so that really focuses on some of the questions like, what are we taking from them when we make choices today? And what kind of messes are we going to leave for those children when the world comes around for them? So at this time, I'd like you to kind of reflect from your own childhood growing up. I'd like you to think about your childhood as you were growing up, whether you were here in Holland or somewhere else around the world. And I would also like you to take the time to think about when you were 16, and also as an adult or a parent in your 30s. And some of the things that I'd like you to kind of contemplate at this moment are, what kind of cars were you driving? What kind of family vehicles were you taking your vacations in? Were they very fuel efficient at the time? Were they very safe? I know safety belts weren't a big thing, and safety car seats and all of that kind of stuff. What about heating your home and powering your home? This may depend on where you grew up, if you were in a more urban versus rural situation, if you were powering your home or heating your home with a gas furnace versus a coal or something like that, or even just a wood-burning furnace. So some of those things all vary as well. And then also looking at what kind of food you were eating. Were you growing your own food on a regular basis, or were you purchasing a lot of this at the grocery store? How consumeristic were we during those periods of your life as a child, during your teens, and also as a young adult? Were we more consumeristic now, or were we back then? This idea of a disposable nation, some of those kinds of things come into play. And what kind of international issues were going on, not just related to sustainability, but also just worldwide. So now, as any young parent does, as they're anticipating the future of their child, they also often think about what is the world going to be like for their child. So I want you to close your eyes at this moment and kind of think about what the world is going to be like for this child that's growing inside right now. And so in 2032, when my child is 16 years old and perhaps getting their driver's license and going for their first drive, what kind of car are they going to be driving? What kind of fuel efficiency are they going to be having in those vehicles at that time? What about in 2046 when they are 30 and they're having children of their own? Or what about in 2076 when they're sitting in your own seats and, and enjoying retirement at that point? What kind of world is this going to look like? How are we going to be powering our homes? What is Holland going to be looking like at that point? With instances like Project Clarity, how is that going to affect our community? Will the children be swimming in Lake Makatawa at that point? What kind of world issues are going to be going on? Are there going to be issues coming towards us with Lake Michigan and our source of fresh water? All of these kinds of things are questions that we need to be asking ourselves as we're moving forward. So in our discussion today, we're going to explore some of the key events and policies briefly related to sustainability from the past 50 years. And then we're also going to look at some of the current activities in our community and choices that we all make and how those impact future generations and the people around the world. So during your reflection period, you may have seen, or some of these events may have come up in your brain. This is by no means a comprehensive list, so don't hold it against me if you don't see one up there. I had a very small amount of space on the slide that I could actually fit some. But so I just want you to kind of reflect on some of these and think about how these events shaped our future or our current future that we're in right now. And a lot of these focus on oil and energy issues, but then you can also see some natural disasters as well that we cause with oil spills and things like that. And so how did those impact and shape the policies that came forward? So as you can see on this list, I kind of broke it up into the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s and kind of focused in on some of the key ones. Again, it's not a comprehensive list. But so you can see that the 70s were kind of this big time of awakening almost for sustainability and trying to actually put policies out there and regulations. And so a lot of that stems back from when you see events like Silent Spring and this awareness of the community and people just becoming more aware and asking questions about issues. Someone good? Okay. And so I would also like you to think about when you look at this list, how are we it's amazing what kind of things we're allowing in our lives back then and how it took a while for those changes to actually occur. But it all started with people asking questions like why should we be allowing DTT or DDT in our water systems and things like that. And so it makes me wonder, what kind of things are we allowing in our lives today that we probably should not? So it's important for us to be asking questions today about those kind of issues. So I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to home and focus on the Holland community and some of the things that are going on in our area right now. Again, this is not a comprehensive list, but you can see that there's things that have started back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s that really focused on sustainability, even though they may not have been under this official umbrella of sustainability. This is something that people have been doing for a long period. It's much bigger than just environmental issues. It's also caring for our neighbors and caring for the people around us. And I also want to highlight that just because the Sustainability Institute was initiated in 2014, there's been a lot of things going on. But the purpose of the Sustainability Institute is to kind of help bring that cohesion between all of the different entities and projects that are doing these wonderful projects around our community. Just a show of hands, how many people have driven past the new power plant and have seen that going up in our area? Wonderful. It's kind of hard to miss these days. But if you're not familiar with it, somehow, you can always go out to their website with the p21decision.com website, and you can find out more information there. But so ground actually broke on this in 2015, so this past year. 2016, later this year, it should be coming online. And then in 2017, they're going to be doing a ribbon cutting ceremony where they'll welcome the community to the energy park and see the actual landscaping changes that they've made as well. A couple of the things that I want to highlight about this is because this was a major turning point for our community when we decided to go away from coal-fired plants and try and make a new decision about how we're going to power our community and how we're going to supply that to our community and business members. And so there was a lot of discussion going on. I was not here in the community at that point, but it's something really to be proud of that people came together and had actual discussions about what they wanted to do. The city and BPW brought in consultants to be able to figure out what was going to be the best option for our community, where we could make business sense as well as make a better carbon footprint decision for our community as well. So it's really impressive that they were able to do this. If you want, you can also go out to the site right now and go and stand at the observation tower or observation deck and see what kind of things that they're making changes to right now. And I think one of the other things to applaud is how they're going under this Envision status for the project itself. And Envision is very similar to LEED, if you're familiar with that, but it's a much more holistic approach to sustainability and looking at a project in a larger scale. But it focuses in on various aspects of sustainability. And the community energy plan was kind of a big part of that as well. And so this is our 40-year plan for how we in Holland are going to be reducing our carbon footprint. The goal is to reduce it in half by the year 2050. And so I think we're really well targeted to be able to meet that by that deadline. There's still a lot of work to be done, but there are 7 task forces that have come together to be able to focus in on those. And those focus in on power generation, district heating, systems bundling, the Holland Home Energy Retrofit Committee, building labeling, communication, and education task forces. And so these all come together on a regular basis and discuss these areas and making sure that we're meeting those milestones and doing the things that we want to do to be this big idea community and a vibrant community. And the Holland-Hope College Sustainability Institute actually stemmed out of the Communication and Energy Education Task Force from that group. And so that's what helped to bring me here today. And so with the Sustainability Institute, we're actually funded right now through some private grants through the Funders Network, as well as the Community Foundation of the Holland-Zeeland area. And we are also focused, we're also partnerships with the Holland Board of Public Works, the City of Holland, and Hope College. So it's with all of these entities coming together. It's again pulling those resources and being that one go-to spot for the community in terms of all things sustainability. And our logo, we are very careful when we put that together. As you can, I don't know if it will show a mouse when I move this a little bit, but so you'll see that it kind of focuses on the land with the tulip and then the water droplet here, but it also has that triple bottom line, so the 3 prongs as well as the 3 partnerships within our organization as well. And so that also comes into play when we start looking at our vision and our mission statement of what we want to be in the future as well. But our goal is to be a healthy and economically vibrant community that promotes environmental stewardship and mutual respect for people and the planet. And this is really important, that we're not just focused solely on the environment, but we're also looking at the whole community. We want this to be a good place and a place that's welcoming to everyone. Our tagline is cultivating sustainable community. And so again, I can't stress it enough how much we're here to be that collaborative effort, to be that one that kind of goes to all the different meetings and finding out what's going on and finding those synergies between different projects and initiatives that are going on around the community, because there are so many amazing things going on. Right now, our focus is very heavily on energy just because of the grant funding, and so we're kind of dictated by that a little bit. But going forward, we do also want to make sure that we're also looking at things like land and water use, as well as food issues and other areas like that. So we're looking at the more holistic approach, but right now it's just a little bit more focused in on energy at the moment. One of my major goals for 2016 is going to be helping the City of Holland Sustainability Committee finalize the sustainability framework. And so, as I've mentioned before, sustainability isn't just environmental issues. It's also looking at quality of life, economic, community and neighborhood, and community knowledge as well. These are all areas that play into what sustainability means for our community. And so, with working with the City of Holland Sustainability Committee, I'm going to be helping to create metrics and how we're going to gauge how we're doing as a community based on these different areas. And then also putting out an annual report with with kind of like a report card for our community. And so that will be something that you can look forward to seeing, and it will kind of give us a gauge as to how we're doing as a community on various topics of sustainability as well. I wanted to highlight a couple of the projects that I've been involved with over the past year. This is an example of the group of students that I worked with from the Ottawa Area Intermediate School District during their future prep. This was some students from the middle school group, and they were just a joy to work with. They were so energetic, and it was exciting, and it was really fun to have the opportunity to work with these students and to see their passion for sustainability already. I mean, this is something that the younger generation gets. They're so passionate about it. I mean, they're the ones that are going to be inheriting the planet, and so they're like, let's do this now. And so they came up with this really cute tagline called Operation Sustainability, and it was a way to answer my driving question to them was, how might the Holland youth engage in learning about sustainability and show long-term behavior change? And so, as I said, they came up with this social media campaign called Operation Sustainability, where they would take pictures of themselves doing various sustainability activities over the course of a month, and then they would also post those out to websites where area businesses would be highlighting what they're doing. And so this was a really neat way because it not only got the students involved, it got them to see what their friends were doing, but it also was a way to showcase what our area businesses are doing. So it's kind of a way to toot the horns of those businesses and highlight those activities. Also in October, we hosted our first annual event called Energize You. And so this was hosted at the Midtown Center. And a big focus of this was to have a showcase of a video competition. There was a video competition that went out a few years ago related to energy and sustainability, and so we kind of revamped that and brought it out to the community and area teachers. And we were really excited. The teachers had kind of a quick turnaround. They had about a month to work on the videos with the students, and so we were really happy with the participation rate that we had from the area schools. And we had 5 area schools, 6 teachers, 19 videos submitted, and 56 students actually participate in the video competition. And so the creativity that spurred from these videos and the way these students saw sustainability and focused in on the Georgetown Energy Prize and the super tips, it was just really, really cute. So staff from the City of Holland actually put together a little compilation video highlighting a lot of the different pieces from the different videos. So I'm going to show that to you here. I don't know if I have to close out of this briefly. And please note that this was right around October. It was in October, so there was a little bit of zombie with Halloween playing up, playing up on that. Oops. Okay, what do I switch on to get the mic or the sound?
What is this? What are you doing? Instead, you should be using LED energy efficient lights.
Excuse me, ma'am. Shouldn't you wait until you have a full load of laundry to wash only a single sock?
It's simple. Literally just unplug whatever it is you're not using.
5 easy ways that you can save energy at home.
One way to do this is by unplugging your idle devices.
For every 10-degree reduction in water temperature, you can save up to $30 annually.
Light bulbs are going to go out regardless, but LED light bulbs last 25 to 50 times longer.
Unplug chargers and other plugs that cause phantom energy.
Ah, that's hot! Do you have your water heater temperature set on high?
I have no idea.
First question is, what are 2 things you can do to save energy?
You can put LED lights in your house, and you can also open your windows in the summer.
The Holland Energy Prize website says to make sure you always turn off the lights before you leave the room to save energy.
Devin, what are you doing? Your computer's all charged up and it's still plugged in?
Innovation that the students put with these videos. Like I said, they were only given a month to be able to do these kinds of things, but the creativity and even the professionalism that you saw from some of these videos was really amazing. And it was even fun to go to the classrooms when the students wanted to ask questions about the competition and learn more. And just their enthusiasm for the topic was just really inspiring. Another thing that I'd like to really highlight that's going on in the community is the Georgetown University Energy Prize. Show of hands for how many people have heard that Holland is competing in this competition before the survey. Okay, all right. That's still a good number. I'm still glad to hear that. So this is actually a national competition that Holland is competing for $5 million. So definitely not a small chunk of change. But so it's something that we're focused in on as a tool for our community energy plan. And it's a way for us to communicate our goals to the community about sustainability, and especially focused in on energy efficiency and ways that they can improve their efficiency in their homes and businesses as well. In 2013 and 2014 was our baseline year. And so BPW staff collected all the information over those couple of years, and then we submitted that. And then the goal is for 2015 and 2016 is to reduce our energy the most compared to the other communities around the country. And while you may ask, how is that going to be fair when we're competing with cities like in California and Florida based on weather, depending on what kind of a harsh winter we're going to have or not. But they actually weatherize the data as well. And so this makes it a more equal playing field when it comes to comparison. And so I would like to share with you that we are actually just finished up our first year, and we're just now kicking off our final year of the competition, and we are actually in 4th place out of the 50 communities. So that is really inspiring and really exciting to see that Holland has really pulled together and is making these changes. So that is just so awesome. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do still in 2016 to be #1, but at the end of 2016, they'll look at the top 10 communities, and then those will be offered the opportunity to write a final report and assessment about their community. And so that's where the winner will be determined out of those top 10. So as long as we're in the top 10, we have a really great shot of being able to do this. I think because there's so many amazing things going on that may not take effect right away, but we'll see those benefits in the long run as well. And so the areas that are incorporated into the Georgetown competition are the city infrastructure, so like our street lighting project, municipal buildings. The city is in the process of doing retrofits of all of the municipal buildings around the city. K through 12 schools are also calculated into that, as well as residential areas as well. So any time that you can unplug things, turn things off, the better. Some of the ways that we're getting people geared up and excited about the Energy Prize is by doing these quarterly competitions. The picture up here with the family and their light bulbs, they actually won one of the quarterly competitions, and they won a whole house full of LED light bulbs. So it's really cool. The kids were super excited about this. They didn't know exactly what an LED light bulb was, but they were very excited that they won a whole house full of them. So that was really neat. And down in the picture in the bottom, it might be a little hard for you guys to see in the very back, but this was a picture from our spring 2015 Blitz campaign that we did. And so Ryan helped organize a citywide door-to-door campaign, and we're doing this kind of periodically throughout the last year and then this coming year. And so far we've had 90 volunteers, and we've touched about 1,500 homes in the community by doing this door to door and getting neighbors talking to neighbors. And so it's been really beneficial to see how this is taking forward or taking shape in our community. Our next quarterly competition is going to be focused in on the area schools, so K through 12, and really heavily focused in on the area high schools. Staff from BPW and I have been working with the Holland Youth Advisory Council. It's a group of students from different representatives from all of the area schools and how they can focus in on a specific project. And this year they chose to do the Georgetown Energy Prize. We're trying to get as much momentum, as many people involved in this as possible, and so they were really excited to be a part of it as well. And so they're going to do a mini competition at their schools to see what things that they can do from January 1st through March 31st of this year in terms of being able to reduce their energy usage. And so it will be really interesting to see what kind of things that they decide to implement in their schools and what kind of innovation that they take back to their families as well. And so I would also invite you, they're going to have the awards ceremony and also have a presentation where all of these area schools are going to be highlighting some of the best practices and lessons learned from the competition itself. And that's going to be on April 20th at the Moss Center. And then just something that I briefly want to mention is The Biggest Loser, but more details will be coming about this. And this is, again, kind of a competition within that competition. Some of the initiatives at HOPE that are going on in terms of sustainability. I'll try to kind of move through these a little bit faster. But so the Hope Green team is really at the forefront of this sustainability stuff. And this is a group of faculty, staff, and student representatives from the Hope community. And they all focus and they meet a couple times a month and decide what kind of sustainability initiatives they want to focus in on that year. I'm going to breeze through a couple of these. I'd like to be able to highlight dining services. One of the really neat things that they've taken forward over the past couple of years was this idea of totally trayless. And so they've wiped out all of the trays in the cafeteria, and this has helped reduce water as well as food waste because they don't have to wash the trays, but then it reduces food waste because the students aren't taking as much food back to their tables, and so it just really helps to cut down on that as well. They're not taking and piling everything on top of the one tray. It forces them to have to go back and get seconds and decide if they really wanted to get that ice cream sundae or not. Chances are they probably do want to go. And one of the other things that I want to highlight is that they donate the excess food to the community center over at the Western Seminary as well. So that's a really cool thing, so that they're not being so wasteful with their leftover food and making sure it's going to a good place. But yes, absolutely. And then STARS, this is the Association for Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. And so this is a rating system that colleges and universities are using across the country. Pretty much every college and university is using this. And so it's a way to kind of rank ourselves as to how we're doing as a college in comparison to some of the other colleges as well. So it's a really neat thing that we're taking part of. Many people might not know about LEED on our campus, and so the new concert hall that was just recently built, they are actually applying for LEED Silver status for that. And so there's 4 levels in LEED certification, and so the Student Center is going to be actually applying for gold status is what they're going to be aiming for. Platinum would be the highest.